Jai Sadgurudeo, everyone. Good morning to all of you. I am Ravi. I've joined this satsang from Austin, Texas. Before we begin this session, I would like to bow down and offer my prayers to the holy feet of Lord Sadgurudeo. Please join me by closing your eyes. बार बार वंदन करूं सद्गुरुदेव हमार, यहाँ वहाँ सब ठाम में महिमा परंपार। शरण शरण में शरण हूँ, हे गुरु बंदी छोड़। मोहे उबारो हे गुरु, यह 100 बार निहो। Welcome to the weekly English satsang organized by North American Institute of Vihangam Yoga. In the current times, our day-to-day life has become busy in fulfilling our physical and mental needs. In the fast-paced routine life, requirement of our soul is often neglected. So first of all, I congratulate each one of us for taking some time from our busy schedule to fulfill the requirement of our soul through this satsang. Today we will continue our discussion about Swarved. So today we are fortunate to discuss some of the few couplets of Swarved. As we all know, Swarved is an encyclopedia of spirituality. It is the soul of Vihangam Yoga. It is the experience of His Holiness Sadguru Sadafal Ji Maharaj, which has been depicted into the couplets, and we have around more than 3,700 couplets from Swarved. Yeah. And today we all are very fortunate to have Dr. Subhas Ji, who is one of the most beloved disciple of Lord Sadgurudeo, have been practicing Sadgurudeo's preachings for a while. He has a good understanding of the spiritual worlds. He can relate the preachings of the saints with the ancient texts like Ved. He has also related the couplets with the Gita. So today again we'll be utilizing this satsang and this platform to understand some of the deep insight of Swarved couplets, which Dr. Subhas Ji will be sharing with us. So thank you, Dr. Subhas Ji, for being here. I would request you to share your screen, and we'll discuss Swarved couplets from there. Over to you, Dr. Subhas.
Thank you, Ravi Shankar Ji. Akhandamandalakaram vyaptamayena characharam tadpadam darsitamayena tasmai Sri Guruve Namah. So this is the couplet from first mandal, second chapter, 18th couplet. साधन मन के साथ है तब तक भक्ति नाही, निर्मल उधर्व प्रवाह में अमन भक्ति घट माही. साधन मन के साथ है. As we all understand, sadhan, meditation, man is the mind. So whenever we are meditating with the mind, तब तक भक्ति नाही. Till then, till the time we have mind when we meditate, that is not what is bhakti. That is not something that will lead to upliftment of the soul. And then in the next line, as the couplet reads, निर्मल उधर्व प्रवाह में, निर्मल बिना मल के, बिना शरीर के, अमन बिना मन के, भक्ति घट माही. So the way I understand it, that the moment we are without man, without mind, a state where mind and body is not with us, in that moment, bhakti happens. Ghatna, ghat is the word from ghatna, from happening. Bhakti happens in that moment. So going back to the teachings and understanding of Vihangam Yoga, what does this relate to? Once again, we are talking about Chatushtha Antakaran, Man, Buddhi, Chit or Ahankar, mind, intellect, memory and ego. So in the first stage of meditation, we stop our mind externally by focusing. So in that moment, we are just trying to stop the mind. And even Swamiji shared in one of his discourses that this is the foundation for stopping the mind. After which, we have to build the castle which has 4 more stories, which is 4 more storied. And he keeps repeating that until the foundation is strong. When he used to ask Acharya Sri Pratham Parampara Gurudev, Acharya Dharamchandra Devji Maharaj, to teach him or give him the learnings of the next stage of meditation, Acharya Sri would always insist on the basic that the first stage is the most important stage. And he was asked to meditate there for at least 3 years before he could move forward. So we, as this couplet reads, sadhan man ke saath hai. In this moment, if we try to understand, abhi to hum hi man ke saath nahi hai, means the man, the turbulent mind traveling at the speed of light, and we are unable to be with it. That is the reason why we feel so much of restlessness. We sit down still, but our mind is moving everywhere possible. There is no stopping of the mind. So reading the first line, we have not yet been with the mind. Mind has taken its own course and going anywhere, everywhere, causing restlessness. So in the very first stage, as we all know and understand, that you stop the mind externally. And as then you move forward to the next stages, it is only when you are nirmal and you are aman, without the mind. So only in the fourth stage of this meditative practice, where man wa pran, mind and the breath gets dissociated, then begins the bhakti, then begins the real journey of upliftment of the soul. Otherwise, as we have been discussing this again and again, that the soul is under the shadow of the mind, and there is constant downward flow of the soul's energy in our external environment through our sense organs. So in the first stage, we stop the outward flow of energy, and then we take ourselves to Trikuti in the second stage. And there you have certain divine experiences. You hear those words which are known as ajapa by the third stage. So if you, as you read the commentary, you see that it is a process. So as we move upward, even listening to those ajapa words and those divine experiences is still a process. So listening to the subtle sounds, the ajapa words, the dissolution, the sunna, as we are reading in the commentary, when we are devoid of all those things, when we are beyond all those things, that is when the Supreme Being is attained. That is the state of bhakti that this couplet refers to, where the devotion is so profound that nothing else exists, nothing else matters. If I try to explain this experience, which will not still be a real comparison, but the experience where you're getting skilled, you're stopping your mind on the outside, purifying it further inside, dissolving it in its origin as you move further. But it is still, all of it is a process, because still it is all at the level of mind, body. And that upward flow of energy has to be when you get into the stage of bhakti. No mind, no intellect, no pranas, no forces of the physical world. And it's just you there in unison with the Almighty. That is the real bhakti, and that only happens when everything else is dissociated. I was thinking of some worldly examples, and again, No worldly examples can be a correct analogy to this couplet. But still, I'll give it a try. And that example is of how a momentary bhakti, a bhakti for a fraction of a second. You have seen those football players who use their legs while they are running. Their leg movement is hitting the football with such precision and sharpness as that of a surgeon's scalpel. Because there are 10 other footballers coming from the opposite direction or hovering by the side to take away the ball. And this footballer is still moving forward, tackling everyone, running at a fast pace, looking into every direction where there is an empty space where he can pass the ball to someone else. And at the same time, the precision, the angle, the point at which he will hit the football with which part of his leg also has to happen at the same speed. And if you remember, it becomes such a remarkable moment that everyone in the audience is pin drop silence, as if their breath has stopped. They're all in unison in that moment. And unison with what? With the movement of the football. And this footballer who is taking the football with him comes to a phase where, in reality, neither he knows his legs nor the football, because he does not have those senses at that level, tackling with 10 people, moving the ball at that speed. He's unison with just one thing that makes the goal happen. Just by having any other person who has all those worldly attributes, the leg, the football, the ground, it won't be possible to hit the goal until and unless the person is in unison with the goal, with the motive, and that commitment, that devotion. First of all, that precision comes with practice. There comes your first stage of meditation. You practice, the mind doesn't stop, the mind doesn't stop. You keep on practicing, you keep on getting frustrated, nothing happens, nothing changes. Some people spend 5 years, 10 years, you keep on practicing, and you should not give up. And then comes the second stage after you have practiced the skill of stopping your mind externally, then purifying it in that Sangam of Ingla, Pingla, Susmana. It again takes time and practice. With utmost time and practice, you then move forward. But in moving forward, most of the people, or let's say not most, let's say I will relate it to myself rather than saying most of the people. They develop an expectation why this is not happening. I was told I will hear Om, I will hear these words, and I will have those divine experiences. So the moment you have developed an expectation, trying to get something out of it, you are no more in the meditative state. See, if you look at the second line of this couplet, Aman Bhakti Ghat Mahi, it's a process, it happens. You do not have to create an expectation which would lead to a feeling of loss or gain. You will just have to let the process happen by trusting Sadgurudeo. As Sadgurudeo says, सुमिरन सुरति लगाई के मुख से कछु न बोल, बाहर का पट बंद कर अंतर का पट खोल. So Swamiji says, सुमिरन सुरति लगाई कर. Surati we have discussed before. The soul's energy. You don't have to say anything. You have to prevent the outflow of your energy through these sense organs. And as you close that, bahar ka pat band kar, closing the door to the exterior world, the separation, dissociation of mind from this exterior world. Antar ka pat khol, then opens the door to your Brahmand, and then opens the door to upward flow of energy. As you read in the next second line, Nirmal Udharva Pravaha me. Nirmal, the word mal mutra is what body is made up of. Udharva Pravaha me. When you have dissociated yourself from Unis Tattva, the Karmendriya, Jnanendriya, Antaskaran, and you are without body, and then without the breath, and then the upward flow of energy begins and bhakti happens. Swamiji further says about sadhana. What is sadhana? आसन है तन शांति का, मन शांति अभ्यास, आत्म अनुभव शांति का, जाहि जुटे अभ्यास. If you understand the intricacies of this, asan hai tan shanti ka, the asan pranayam that we do, it is for the stability or integrity or equilibrium of our body, our bodily functions, different systems. Man shanti abhyas. Again, we do abhyas, the meditation, by sitting at one place. And that meditation is for stopping our mind. Man shanti abhyas. Atam anubhav shanti ka, jahi jute abhyas. So here when in unison with the abhyas, the way to explain it would be, when you are sitting in meditation, you are the experiencer. But when the experiencer witnesses the experience, not as an experiencer, but as a witness, that is jahi jute abhyas. So that abhyas is no more a technique, but it's a process that starts happening. And most important in all this, in this flow of energy from outward to inward, It's Sadgurudeo. When nothing works, you feel that you have tried this, you have tried that. Swamiji says, Prabhu Prasad Sadguru Daya Mana Hoye Swadhin Anya Yukti Koi Nahi Lage Sadguru Charan Adhin. So that devotion into the holy feet of your Swami, your Sadguru, is very important part of bhakti. So we have to understand that we are, for those who are still at the first stage, it's a long journey which needs a lot of devotion, lots and lots of commitment, lots of exercise and practice to the extent that you forget your own body, mind, you lose the connection with your breath. And then you begin the upward journey. As here in the commentary, you will see, it has been mentioned, it is a state of being devoid and dissociated from the mind. So we have to do that bhakti, the bhakti in which everything is dissociated. First, by our own practice. Second, the knowledge. Third, it is not an expectation, but it's a process of unification that only happens when you have dissociated from intellect, mind, pranas, and the physical world. In different stages of meditation, those people who get good experiences, they have also known to develop some power. I remember from my childhood, one of the disciple of Swamiji, he was able to tell where things are, but this is off topic, so let's come back here. So there are ways for us to get distracted as we move upward in this journey. When you hear those subtle sounds, and even then people get distracted and they start seeking pleasure in that. But when all these ends, that is where the real bhakti begins. That is all I have to share on this couplet. Back to you, host.
Thank you, Subhashji. Does anyone have any questions related to this couplet? Please chime in, or you may ask some questions. I think it is beautifully explained by Dr. Subhashji. Still, if you have any questions, you can ask. I think,
Yes,
yeah, just okay.
Sadgurudeo. Thank you so much for the beautiful explanation, Subhashji. I'm not sure if this is a question, but when we discuss for this couplet that when the mind is dissolved at a certain stage, maybe at this level 2 or level 3, where the purification of mind and the rise of energy happens, surati happens, and then the mind is dissolved, and so is the prana. I think I had asked this earlier also. Maybe this is a good opportunity to actually bring that back. So when those are supposed to be the the best tools a jiva has to to walk the path of spirituality. So once those tools are dissolved, what is a tool which is available for we know that the one thing which is very intrinsic is knowledge, desire, and action, which is intrinsic to the Atma. What governs that? The jiva probably has some divine organs. It has probably its own internal organ which takes over once the mic organs are dissolved. If you could just throw some light around that, that would be great. Thank you.
Jai Sadgurudeo Niranjan ji. Thank you for asking a question for all of us. And I would appreciate your further explanation on this question. What I understand is that the soul is trapped under the shadow of mind. The soul's life force, the energy, is being directed outward. Now, when we stop the mind in the beginning, but here we are talking about being devoid of the mind and devoid of the breath. That is the time when the soul has its own energy, which is way more powerful. If we remember the 6 stages, why the soul came into the sthul form, the gross body form, but its craving and desire to be in unison with the Almighty is there. And as in the process, we get devoid of these worldly things, the soul's conscious energy, which is driven towards the Almighty, because now its realization to its purpose, to its goal, because the soul has, and we have been trying to come to that stage because of the realization that living in this world is full of pain and suffering, and we die and we born again, we die and we born again. And with that suffering and pain, those who do not get the understanding and the intellect of coming out of it, they continue to suffer. But those who understand the cause of the suffering, and under the blessings of Sadgurudeo, they know that there is a way out of that suffering. So that's moment when every cover, every layer, the soul has been devoid of, it will head only in one direction with its conscious energy to the Almighty. And then we further discuss in the Kavalle stage, it still has not lost its ego. And only Sadguru blessings then takes it further. Under the Sadguru's direction, Sadguru holds your hand and takes you to that conscious, to that energy. So its inherent quality that was overshadowed by all those tattvas, Manish tattva, is what was preventing it. But with your practice and the blessings, as you get rid of it, now is the time you move forward. I remember one of the examples is that the amount of burning, let's see if there is a fire, burning coal is put on your head. What will happen? One will have the intense desire to throw the burning coal from the top of their head. Similarly, or if a thief knows that across this thin wall there is a treasure, the moment I break this wall, I will get the treasure. That is the driving force for the thief. Similarly, my understanding is that the moment all the shackles are being dissolved, the soul has that driving force to take it or to make it move forward. Thank you, and back to you, Niranjanji.
Thank you very much, Subhashji. Thank you. The reason I was asking that question, Subhashji, because I was reading the Srimad Bhagavatam translation by Srila Prabhupada, and the way he was describing, the methodology is different, but I think they're all saying the same thing. They're saying that once the mind is dissolved by the soul, the spirit, it has its own divine organs. And the example that they have described with is, for example, when we are human, for example, and when we make clothes, then the cloth inherits the form of a human being. For example, the cloth will have 2 legs, it will have two hands, and so on and so forth. So all those organs are put on the cloth so that it fits onto the human form. And similarly, the spirit has those intrinsic organs, and as it descends into the world of Maya, it puts on these cloth, which we call all these 24 element-based sharir. So, but the soul has those fundamental organs to begin with. It always has. So that's why, and I know that we have been discussing about the intrinsic property of the soul, which is desire, knowledge, and action. But we do not talk about those intrinsic organ which gets blanketed as it descends down. So that's where I was kind of curious, like, how is there a way to kind of bridge that gap? So that's why. And they also describe how the other forms develop in all the other animal species and also in the plant. They say that the spirit is the same in all of these things, but the blanketing is much more gross. So, for example, imagine us putting on a thick mattress and blanket on top of us. So that way your hands, legs, and all the other organs are not even visible at all, and which kind of becomes like a tree form. So it's much more blanketed version of the same jiva. And I found that analogy really powerful because it helps to understand how this blanketing happens, and it kind of describes. So that's where I just wanted to share that, so that maybe we'll find some kind of similarity in Swarved or in Guruji's Vani. So that's where I was sharing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Niranjani, and thank you, Subhashji. If no more questions are there, then we can move to the next couplet.
May I share something here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Jai Sadgurudeo to everyone. जब तक माइंड है तो इंद्रियां फंक्शन कर रही हैं. माइंड इज हैविंग फुल कंट्रोल ऑन ऑल आवर ऑर्गन्स. So now you can think about, there are two types of energies, right? One is soul energy, one is mind energy. Or mind energy is more than the soul energy, and soul is trapped. So just taking the analogy of the blanket, right? So mind is nothing but a blanket. उसने घेर रखा है, सब organs को control किया हुआ है. And the organs are always going out. वो कुछ ना कुछ सीख कर रहे हैं. और वो सीख क्या कर रहे हैं, they also do not know. Why? Because they have to play their game on this 3D world. अगर माइंड को हटा दो, then there is no play happening on this planet Earth. Now, as we do sadhana, and मेरा तो यही विश्वास है कि जितनी मर्जी साधना कर लो, जब तक गुरु की कृपा नहीं होगी, स्वामी जी की, सदगुरु की कृपा नहीं होगी, युगों युगों तक बैठे रहो, कुछ नहीं होने वाला, टस से मस नहीं होगा. और हम हठ योग कर लें, वेरियस थिंग्स कर लें, तो अब नाउ व्हेन कृपा हो जाती है, then you can say the soul energy takes over the mind energy. And when that energy, it start witnessing the mind. और जो विटनेस करता है ना माइंड को, उसको सब प्रोसेस पता लगता है कि क्या हो रहा है. Now this mind is the culprit. Now I'm witnessing the mind. And the mind is under control of soul energy. Soul यानी कि you can think about your fist. माइंड ने ना फिस्ट बना रखी है और सब कुछ रखा हुआ कंट्रोल में. और फिस्ट के अंदर तुम्हारी एक रबड़ की बॉल है. जब रबड़ की बॉल बड़ी हो जाती है फिस्ट के ऊपर, नाउ that ball will control the mind. Now that process, how it happens, what is happening is mind weakening happens. माइंड जब कमजोर पड़ना शुरू होता है, धीरे 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 धीरे, ये सब वाहेगुरु सदगुरु की कृपा है. Because I am 110% sure. And our soul journey, the right time will come, and the right time the guru will also come to liberate that soul. When the weakening happening of the mind, तो हमारे जो इंद्रियां है ना, ये भी बस समझ लो कमजोर पड़नी शुरू हो जाती हैं. फिर ये भागती नहीं है घोड़े की तरह. Then it starts slowly. आप स्लीपिंग स्टेज में जानी शुरू हो जाती हैं. यू कैन थिंक अबाउट दैट. दे आर नॉट वेरी एक्टिव. अभी तो एकदम घोड़े की तरह एक्टिव है ना. जैसे कुछ खाना सामने बढ़िया सा आया, फटाक से यू ट्राई टू ग्रैब इट. जैसे कोई मूवी आई, जैसे कोई अच्छी कार हमने ली, इट इज जस्ट रनिंग आउटसाइड. Now what's happening is that this padarth material world is there in front of you. Now you're witnessing this material world. कार है, अच्छा जी. अब now car will not overtake you. I'll give you one example. देखो हम गाड़ी लेते हैं तो enjoy the car, the new brand new, either Maserati हो या Ferrari हो. अब प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है यार, वही हमारी प्रॉब्लम में जाती है. मजराटी ले ली, एंड नाउ वी थिंकिंग इसको यार पार्क कहाँ करूं मैं, कहीं इसके ऊपर निशान ना आ जाए. अब वो हमारी वरी बन गई. फिर हम जाते हैं पार्किंग लॉट में उसको दूर खड़ा करते हैं. दो गाड़ियों के बीच में नहीं खड़ा करेंगे, या कोई बंदा ठोक ना दे. डू यू सी द शिफ्ट हैपनिंग इन अस? हम जो पदार्थ को एंजॉय करने के लिए लिया, वो हमारी प्रॉब्लम बन गई. दैट मीन्स प्लेजर इटसेल्फ, स्वामी जी का एक दोहा था, प्लेजर इटसेल्फ इज ब्रिंगिंग व्हाट यू कॉल दुख तुम्हें. तुम प्लेजर की तरफ भाग रहे हो और प्लेजर तुम्हें दुख भी ला रहा है साथ में, बिकॉज द ड्युअलिटी हैज टू प्ले, प्लेजर एंड अनप्लेजर बोथ हैज टू हैव इन एक्शन। सो कमिंग बैक टू द पॉइंट, जो इंद्रियां सूखनी शुरू हो जाती हैं, सूख के उसको अब जड़ों से ही निकालना है। यू आर विटनेसिंग योर माइंड नाउ। अब माइंड कहाँ भागेगा जब आपने माइंड को कंट्रोल कर लिया? एंड इट इज नॉट लाइक यू आर फोर्सिंग योरसेल्फ कि माइंड को कंट्रोल करना है। इट इज ए सटल प्रोसेस जिसके अंदर तुम स्माइल देते हो हर चीज के ऊपर, कि अब देखो ये माइंड ये हरकत करेगा, और हंसते हो, है ना। जैसे यू हैव ए पपी, पपी भौंकने वाला है, देन यू से कोई बात नहीं बेटे, है ना, एंड यू जस्ट उसको प्यार से बिठा देते हो आप। और जब वो एक्शन देखो धीरे 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 करना शुरू करते हैं ना, सब इंद्रियां बैठ जाती हैं अपने मन की। नाउ एवरीथिंग स्टार्ट हैपनिंग इंटरनल। मनमुख की जरा, व्हाट इज ऑपोजिट वर्ड ऑफ मनमुख? तुम सतमुख बन जाते हो, सतगुरु को ही याद करते हो। नाउ inherent properties of soul is that it has to go upward. उसने expand होना है when his form, you can think about the self realization happens या God realization happens. It has to, जैसे steam बन गई ना, पानी था पहले, steam बन गई, steam ने तो ऊपर ही उठना है। In the same way it has to go to the source. It's a inherent quality कि हाउ कैन आई कनेक्ट विद द सोर्स, और वो अपने आप सोर्स के साथ कनेक्शन है उसका ऑल द टाइम, सोर्स के साथ। अब नाउ द सोर्स के साथ कनेक्शन और लेजर बीम की तरह यू कैन थिंक अबाउट, दृढ़ होता रहता है, मोर स्ट्रॉन्गर स्ट्रॉन्गर स्ट्रॉन्गर, एंड एवरीथिंग देन, जो भी हमारे स्वरवेद में कहा है, ऑल द एक्शंस हैपन ऑल द वे टू हंस दे तक। सो बस प्रभु से यही प्रार्थना है, प्रार्थना। और ये ऐसी एक स्टेज है कि अगर आपके सामने कोई $1 बिलियन लाएगा ना, कहेगा ओके हियर इज $1 बिलियन, so what you do is you forget about this spiritual journey and you come and uh, let's play more on this planet earth। और आप कहोगे नहीं यार, युगों युगों के बाद ये मेरे को मिला ही है कुछ, अब नहीं छोड़ूंगा, बिकॉज दैट प्राइस ऑफ दैट थिंग दैट यू गॉट इज पूरा, मैं कहता हूँ कि सृष्टि तुम्हारे चरणों पे रख दोगे ना, तुम कहोगे ये नहीं चाहिए मेरे को, ये नहीं चाहिए मटेरियल, ये नहीं चाहिए माया, मेरे को धरती चाहिए नहीं, अब तो मेरे को सचखंड और सतलोक में जाना है, समथिंग लाइक दैट, तो बस वो स्थिति आ जाती है। देन व्हेन यू हैव दैट स्थिति, ऑल द टाइम हर सेल तुम्हारा उसी नाम के लिए प्रभु की याद में गीत गाएगा all the time. Even if you're eating, cutting vegetables, you will always see, I am not the doer. Somebody else is the doer. मैं तो ये शरीर ही हूँ। So, मैं माफी चाहता हूँ अगर कुछ मेरी ईगो ने आके कुछ इसके अंदर त्रुटियां भर दी हूँ। आई एम वेरी सॉरी। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
बहुत सुंदर, बहुत सुंदर जसवंदर जी, बहुत बढ़िया आपने अपने भाव प्रकट किए। और आई थिंक उत्कर्ष जी ने बहुत सही बोला कि ये जो चेतन कर्ण होता है आत्मा का, और वो कॉन्शियस कर्ण होता है, जो कि सब कुछ, सारी इंद्रियां, मतलब तो दिव्य इंद्रियां होती ही होंगी, जिसे हम चेतन कर्ण बोलते हैं। तो मेरे ख्याल से दैट आंसर्स दैट क्वेश्चन। और एक चीज मैं देख रहा था यूट्यूब पर, एक विजय लाल जी हैं, पता नहीं आप लोगों ने उनका वीडियो देखा है कि नहीं। उन्होंने 2007 से विहंगम योग हर दिन किया, साधना किया, और उनकी मतलब संस्मरण 15 मिनट की है, मैं देख रहा था, और बहुत बढ़िया से उन्होंने डिस्क्राइब किया कि अलोंग द वे कितनी वो आती हैं, दुविधाएं आती हैं जीवन में उस मार्ग पर, और उन्होंने देखा कि वो उनका जीवन जो है, जो भौतिक जगत जो है, उधर से काफी कुछ डिटैच हो चुका था, और उन्हें ये आभास होता था कि भाई मैं कुछ तो दुर्गति हो रही है मेरे जीवन में, कि जो जो जैसे खेती बाड़ी चल रहा है वो सब भी नहीं बढ़िया से मैं संभाल पाया। पर एक चीज साथ में हो रहा है कि उनके परिवार वाले, उनके नेबर्स का जो प्रेम भाव उनके प्रति था वो सदा रहा, और वो लगे रहे साधना में, सदगुरु जी की भक्ति करते करने में। और अचानक 12वें साल में उनके साथ एक दिन बहुत रोने लगे सुबह में उठ करके, कि पता नहीं कहाँ मेरी नैया जा रही है, पता नहीं क्या होगा, सही भी कर रहे हैं। थोड़ी दुविधाएं मन में आने लगी उनके, और बहुत फूट फूट करके रोने लगे कि बताओ ये, अगर मैं इधर भी करता रहता भौतिक जगत तरफ, तो मेरी स्थिति थोड़ी अच्छी रहती भौतिक जगत में, पर वो सब भी नहीं कर पाया, और इतना बड़ा मैं रिस्क लेकर के मैं प्लंज कर गया हूं। और उसके बाद जो है, उन्होंने ऐसा एक्सपीरियंस उन्होंने शेयर किया, जो कि मतलब वो स्वयं भी डिस्क्राइब नहीं कर पा रहे थे। तो वो मैं वीडियो डाल दूंगा। और उन्होंने बोला कि ऐसी कृपा आई उनके ऊपर सदगुरु की, कि उनका एक एक रोम से अमृत निकलने लग गया। और तो उस चीज का जो है उन्होंने, तो पहला बार मैंने ऐसा संस्मरण देखा, जो कि, और वो युवा शक्ति टीम को रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं। तो आई वॉज ऑल्सो, वो मैंने सेव करके रखा हुआ है, उसको फिर से देखूंगा मैं वीडियो, आप लोग भी देखें और थोड़ी उसके ऊपर कमेंट भी करें, क्योंकि बहुत अच्छा लगा सुन करके कि कितनी दृढ़ता थी उनकी। तो वही सुभाष जी भी बोल रहे थे कि कितने लोग तो बीच में ही बिखर जाएंगे। ये दृढ़ता जो है, कई ये जैसे नाव जो है ऊपर नीचे होता है पानी के वेग में, उस तरह से चलता रहेगा, और वही तो टेस्ट है। और और जो व्यक्ति, जो साधक इस विश्वास पर कि ये है, जैसे जयसुंदर जी आप बोल रहे थे कि एक पराविद्या है, और पराविद्या जब तक अनुभव में नहीं आ जाए, वो श्रद्धा और ज्ञान और भक्ति से ही वो मार्ग चलना पड़ेगा। बीच बीच में भौतिक माया जो है पुल करने का प्रयत्न अवश्य करते रहेगी, उसको कैसे डील कर लेके उस मार्ग पर टिके रहे, तभी वह साधक जो है आगे बढ़ पा रहा है मेरे ख्याल से। तो मैं वही अपनी वाणी को मैं वहीं पे विराम दूंगा। थैंक यू। वो मैं भूल ही गया
मैं
कि ये हमारा सत्संग था। आई एम सो सॉरी, आई
हाँ
स्पोक एवरीथिंग इन हिंदी, सो
मैं ना
सॉरी।
एक चीज शेयर करना चाहता हूँ। आई फील लाइक आई शुड शेयर विद एवरीवन। देखो, अभी हमारे स्वामी जी आए थे यूएस के अंदर, राइट? मतलब कि आई कैन नॉट इवन बिलीव कि व्हाट ए पावर दैट केम, राइट? अब क्या है कि जब स्वामी जी आते हैं, देयर आर टू थिंग्स वन कैन डू, either to sync with Swamiji's energy and surrender 100% कि स्वामी जी आए हैं, और दूसरा ये है कि हम अपने नॉर्मल कारोबार करते रहें। काम का फोन आ रहा है, खाना बनाना है एंड ऑल दैट। तो मैं एक एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करना चाहता हूँ कि आई रेड अबाउट सर्वेद के अंदर वेरियस थिंग्स, और मेरे मन में एक क्वेश्चन उठते थे, ये ईड़ा पिंगला और सुषमना का, है ना? एंड द पुल हैपन्स फ्रॉम द टॉप टुवर्ड्स द डिवाइन। तो मैं हमेशा यही कहता था, स्वामी जी ठीक है, दिस इज द थ्योरी, बट यू शो मी द प्रैक्टिकल पार्ट। है ना? सो देन व्हाट हैपेंड इज दैट स्वामी जी आए, तो स्वामी जी, हम लाइन लगा के खड़े थे, तो स्वामी जी सबसे मिले, फिर वो लालमणि जी के घर के अंदर गए और बैठे, एंड एवरीबडी वाज देयर, राइट? Of that moment, if somebody can capture, because Swamiji is 100%, he's connected with divine. और मैं भी बैठ गया वहां पे, है ना? एंड देन धीरे धीरे लोग जाना शुरू हो गए, पर पता नहीं मेरा सौभाग्य ही ऐसा था कि मैं वहीं पे बैठा रहा। पहले खड़ा था, फिर मैं बैठ गया, and then suddenly I was engulfed with so much powerful energy. And then जब वो engulf हुई ना, तो मैंने कहा बस अब मैं हिलूंगा नहीं यहाँ से। Then स्वामी जी जो अपने मन के अंदर मेरे था ना कि I want to see that process, तो this is live happening, and उस चीज को दो लोगों ने विटनेस किया, एक नामदेव सरकार ने और विजय जी ने। And then he showed me how Shushmanas are running, right? Not Shushmana, but Ida and Pingla. पहले चल रही है, it is unbalanced. So then it got balanced. And then the Shushmana start triggering in. सीधा जाके एकदम जैसे मैग्नेट नहीं होता, आपके सर के ऊपर किसी ने रख दिया, everything start getting pulled upward. So in that moment I do not want to, और आसपास इतना शोर मच रहा क्योंकि स्वामी जी ऊपर चले गए, but you are in the same stage, and you want to experience that. You don't want to come out of that stage. And अब it is, समझ लिए कि so fortunate मैं, कि स्वामी जी की इतनी बड़ी blessing, and he showed me this is what the process is. और now मैं इसलिए शेयर कर रहा हूँ संस्मरण कि जो भी लिखा है सर्वेद में, इट इज अ रियल प्रैक्टिकल एक्सपीरियंस. Sadaf Ali Maharaj has experienced it, and he has put the real experience in सर्वेद. और मैं इसलिए शेयर कर रहा हूँ कि अब हम जा रहे हैं इंडिया, राइट? आई कैन ओनली से कि पुट ऑल योर सेल फोन डाउन, leave the world behind you, and Swamiji will give majority of the people experience. जो सर्वेद मंदिर का उद्घाटन होगा हमारा, but the only condition is you have to leave the world behind. If you really want कि तुम अच्छे भक्त हो, तुम साधना कर रहे हो, and you want to have the real experience. अगर मन तुम्हारा यूएस में लगा हुआ है, कामधाम में लगा हुआ है, then it becomes very difficult. You go there and start doing sadhana अभी से ही, जब तक आप इंडिया से वापस नहीं आते, and request स्वामी जी show me the experience, है ना? मैं ये experience देखना चाहता हूँ, and स्वामी जी will not deny anybody. So this is the best opportunity, and this, I would say, this may be the last opportunity. तो इसको last opportunity मान के चलिए आप सब लोग, और सर्वेद महामंदिर के उद्घाटन के लिए प्रिपेयर योरसेल्फ. जैसे कहते हैं शुद्धिकरण करो अपना बिफोर यू गो टू सम spiritual place, or to meet your guru. To meet your guru you have to take a shower, है ना? बालों को धो, पूरा स्नान करो अच्छे तरीके से मन से. मतलब ये समझ लीजिए कि आज से आप अपनी मैल को धोना शुरू कीजिए, बॉडी की, शरीर की और आत्मा की मैल को, कि बस मेरे को अब जाना है, एंड आई हैव टू रियली एक्सपीरियंस समथिंग. ये मौका नहीं आएगा बार बार. मेरा मन कहता है so many people will be touched on this journey. सर्वेद महामंदिर के उद्घाटन में don't miss this opportunity. This is the last blessing going to happen. धन्यवाद. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yashwandarji, that was very enlightening. Thank you for sharing your heartfelt experience. And I've also attached the link of the Vijay Lalji YouTube. Please look at it, and hopefully you can enlighten us more. And yeah, thank you very, very much for sharing this. I mean, that is the beauty of the satsang, that along with the theory, you get to associate with people who are actually living it. And so really thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Niranjanji, for asking question, and Jaswinderji explaining your experience and what we should do while visiting to this auspicious occasion in India. So I see that I think we are almost towards the end of the timeline. So if anybody wants to discuss or want to share their experience, so that because there is no enough time for the next couplet to be explained, so we can discuss here, or if you want to share your experience about your meditation.
Yes, Sadgurudeo, Raviji, right? I see on the chat Mukesh has a question. Will the event be live streamed? I think he's asking about the 100th Vashikotsav celebration in December in India.
Yeah, that is true.
I think that will be live streamed, but only I believe the Divyavani and the Amritvani portions are live streamed. There are some other events that are live streamed, but beyond those 2 or 3 hours of stage time, if I may, I think there's a lot else that happens. I've personally never been to a Vashikotsav, despite trying, but I would say that it's best to be there in person. But definitely the Divyavani and Amritvani will be live streamed, and the best way to experience that is just sitting in a peaceful place, and you can try to be meditative while you're listening to Sadgurudeo Amritvani or Sant Pravarji's or Sant Shri Namdev Ji's Divyavani. Try to be meditative, try to imbibe it. That's Sadgurudeo. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
I think one of the requests is that hearing more from Jaswinderji and maybe people like Vijay Lalji, who have come out and really start sharing their experience is will definitely be very, very useful for the sadhaks who truly are on that path, but they have a long way to walk. It will make their journey on the ups and downs of their mind. It will make it much more equanimous and more stable. So they are able to persevere and really stay focused on the path. So that was just a request, and yeah.
Jai Sadgurudeo. Nandanji, I have a question. Is this, I mean, sometimes I hear that it's not allowed to share the experiences. Sometimes I mean, we are bringing right now that we definitely need to share so that others can learn more, be more encouraged to continue this journey. What is the, I'm not sure, I mean, to what extent one can share. I'm a newbie. I'm trying to, follow all that I can. And I also understand that this is a long journey. It's not a flip of a switch that one can quickly, experience things, while coming from many lives. So, to what extent is it allowed to share, and whether it is allowed? Thank you. Yes,
Thanks, Mukeshji. Yeah, I would request Dr. Subhasji to, answer this question. Dr. Subhas.
So, thank you, Raviji. And answer your question, Mukeshji. Yes, there are certain experiences which are very personal and which, when shared with everyone, can lead to multiple different meanings. So it is advised not to share those experiences. People see certain kind of light. Based on their own understanding, they may perceive it differently. So it is always said that share it with your guru, and he will direct you further. There are certain experiences which are well known. The fusion of Ingla, Pingla, and Susmana, and the experience starting from the coccyx region, the region at the lowest part of your vertebral bone, and that sensation going upward towards the head. These are certain common experiences that sadhaks get. And when they share it in their words, it becomes very lively. People can feel it because it is also mentioned in Swarveda that these things will happen. But either we are not aware of it, or even if we read it, we do not align our thoughts with it. But when someone shares those feelings which are well documented, well explained, there is no scope of doubt and no scope of speculation, then those things leave a meaning for everyone present in that satsang. So that are my 2 cents on this. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Subhasji. Appreciate the explanation.
Sure.
I would like to just add to what Dr. Subhasji just said, based on whatever I have researched about experiences from other gurus who have become available on social media and YouTube, is that when the lot of this spiritual progression happens from past lives, spiritual path, and it carries forward in this life. So really, everybody has different time scale. We are on a different time scale, but it's possible to speed it and slow it and so on, right? So that much is dependent on our free will and perseverance and willpower. So what they talk about, which at least I have come to find is very common, including Vijay Lalji's Sansmaran actually, and maybe to some extent what Jaswinderji just talked about, is that when it's like a flower, when it starts to, it is growing, it is in a bud form. It hasn't blossomed yet. And as it gets the nourishment, sunshine and soil and water and all of that, and then there's a day when it just blossoms at its full capacity. So when that moment happens in the journey of Atma or Jiva, then what they say is that there their awareness and their consciousness about themselves, it absolutely detaches from the physical entities such as the body and the mind. They see those, and they also see their surroundings as part of themselves. So that's one thing, which is they really expand in terms of lovingness. So there's no more my family, my neighbor, my friend, my boss, my dad. It pretty much, for them, they see themselves in pretty much everybody. So that's one, very, very common. And even in Bhagavad Gita, there's a lot of mention about that. And the other thing is, when that blossom happens, then they describe about, they're not able to describe very well the kind of bliss that falls upon them. And then the third thing is, the time stops for them. They might have closed their eyes for like a few minutes, but in the real time, in the bhautik jagat, it may have passed like hours, maybe days. And then they have to come back. And so these are some of the experiences that happen. And in some cases, who are in sahaj, who are always in that state, like Sadguru, Ramana Maharishi, many Maharishis, they're always in that state. So when they're eating, they're all, it shows up. That's a sahaj state all the time. And for them, their just presence exudes certain level of energy in the surrounding, but they're never able to describe what state they are in. Like Devraha Baba. There's our culture is filled with those Mahapurush, Ramana Maharshi, Ram Krishna Paramhans, even Vivekananda, right? And they are never able to describe, because they are always in that state. Like, for example, when journalists used to go to talk to Devraha Baba, and so we don't understand what you are, and he would only say one thing: don't ask me all these unnecessary questions, ask me right questions. He's basically looking for the journalist to ask him right question so he can help him and the other people. So he was simply saying that मैं ईश्वर लीन अवस्था में रहता हूं, and every time he's repeating ईश्वर लीन, मेरी अवस्था ईश्वर लीन है. यानी कि, and they don't have to eat, they don't have to drink, because they are connecting to the in the Amar Lok. There's a mention in the scriptures about the river called I'm forgetting the name, but there's a divine river which is all flowing with Amrit. So they tap into that. They don't. So Devraha Baba never had to eat anything or drink anything. And so these are some of the things that you will see very common once those kind of connection happens. And so they're always wanting to share what they can, like what they are experiencing, but they cannot describe, because there's nothing in this physical world is what they're experiencing. So they're saying that I'm in the Ishwar Leen Avastha. And he's trying to tell them that just take my word for it, that you can achieve this. So it's like, that's why it's a very diverse research is also very, very important, especially for people who are on the initial path, to maintain that. That's why, this whole holistic cycle of Paravidya, Bhakti, Dharma, Vairagya has to go together. And we don't know how long it has to go. It very much is like blossoming of the flower. Depends on how much nourishment we provide, and how well it was planted, and all of that comes in. So that's where I think all this Sansmaran is very, very helpful, listening to these experiences. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Niranjan ji and everyone. So now we have almost moved to the last segment of this one, the satsang. As we know, like NAIVY has been conducting Warrior of the Weeks for quite some time. So here we encourage all the people to meditate in the Brahm Muhurat between 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. to whatever location they are on in. And but most of us are unable to take advantage of this time. So this is a so there is a WhatsApp group created as a Brahm Muhurat Warrior, and the goal is to participate and practice Vihangam Yoga meditation in the Brahm Muhurat on their own. And when you are done with that, just send a done message to that group. There is no additional session to join this one. So if anybody is interested, just let me know. I'll add them to the Brahm Muhurat Warrior group. This week, we have Warrior of the Week is Bhagwati Patel ji, Rajeshwar Shagar ji, Radha ji, Sri Ram Sahu ji, Sri Ram ji, Surya Lamraju ji, Tejinder ji, Yogeshwar Shagar ji, and inductees of the week are Amit Talekar ji, Lalwani ji, Monika ji, Priyanshu Kumar ji, Monika ji. Thank you so much. So we have moved to the last section of our today's workshop. In this phase, we'll chant a short version of Vandana, Aarti and Shanti Path. Vandana is prayer through which we seek blessings of Sadgurudeo. We request well-being, health, wealth, and seek his blessings for his spiritual knowledge. I would request Dev Ji to sing the last 4 lines of Vandana. Over to you, Dev Ji.
Vandana. Prabhu Kalpa Santa Samaja Uttama Sarva Dharma Achaya He Jimi Nadia Sri Di Sindhu Ki He Vishwa Patamaya Karya He Prabhu Sacha Santa Samaja Tera Aparaksha Kijiye Jana Sadafala Jana Bhakti Ridi Dina Dina Kijiye.
Thank you, Dev Ji. Our next prayer is Aarti. Here we acknowledge the power of Almighty and pray that all disciples experience eternal joy, love, and freedom from worries under His holy guidance. I request everybody to stand up for Aarti, and I would request Dev Ji to sing last few lines of Aarti.
Jai Guru Deva Hare Sadguru Deva Hare Shisha Janana Kisan Krishna Me Dura Kare Joshanana Mawe Awe Satapata Pawe Mohimite Jivaka Sukashante We Pawe Dukkha de Mite Jagaka Guru Murati Gati Kandrama Sevaka Nayana Chakor Palaka Palaka Nirakata Rahe Guru Murati Kiyor Shweta Shweta Maya Shweta Hai Shweta Shweta Maya Shweta Dinapada Amriti Para Shweta Mahamada Shweta Ashta Chakra Sabasunya Para Dar Adhara Kipar Tahansa Falagarakiya Buli Parda Sansar.
Thank you, Devji. I would request everybody to sit down for Santipat. Santipat, we chant for peace for everyone in this universe. May Sadgurudeo bless the entire cosmos with peace, love, and prosperity. I would again request Devji to recite last few lines of Santipat for us. Over to you, Devji.
Shantipat. Hey Prabhu Shanti Sarupa Ho. Shanti Shanti Maya Shanti. Shanti Shanti Jana Shanti Ho. Purna Shanti Maya Shanti. Hey Prabhu Shanti Pradana Kara. Duraho Sarva Ashanti. Deva Sada Fara Shanti Maya. Shanti Shanti Sukha Shanti. Jai Sadgurudeo Bhagavan Ki Jai.
Thank you, Devji, for beautifully singing Vandana Aarti and Santipat. I would like to thank all of you for joining today's satsang and making this satsang successful. And encourage everybody to ponder upon the topics and the Swarved couplets what we discussed today with respect to meditation, man, and beautiful questions what everybody shared and answered and discussed. Special thanks to Dr. Subhash ji for beautifully explaining the meaning of Swarved couplets. I pray to Sadgurudeo for peaceful and spiritual week ahead for all of us. Until then, see you all next Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on same Zoom meeting. Till then, Jai Sadgurudeo and have a wonderful day. Thank you all.